Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today I'm going to show you what's inside a dryer. Garbage day a couple days ago, I found this dryer on one side of the street, and interestingly I found a washer on the other side of the street. So that was kind of interesting. Luckily I did not have to put it into the car. I used a dolly and brought it home because it was close by. Sometimes people will go by and just cut the cord. There is a nice thick cord. I actually cut it off just to get at the guts inside to show you how nice this copper cord is. But there are other nice things inside of a dryer as well. A dryer has a motor that has copper in it. It has a control panel that has silver contacts. There is, the rest of this is steel. So this dryer is 99.9% scrappable materials. You can actually just bring this in on a truck to the scrapyard and get steel price. But again, if I take the time to take the stuff out of it, I will make more money by separating the materials. So I have already taken the screws out around the outside as well to pop the top off. And I'm going to show you how to get to the goodies and how to maximize your profit. Interestingly as well, sometimes you actually find money in dryers. Comes out of people's pants. Sometimes you might find an earring if it was in someone's pocket. On one occasion I actually found $9 worth of change in one of the dryers. So you never know what's inside if once you take it apart. So first thing I'm going to show you is the cord. Okay, I've already cut the cord off. These cords in Canada are actually a little bit more than appliance cords, like your standard appliance cord from coffee makers and stuff, because it is thicker and it has some really nice pieces of copper inside. It also has really nice brass prongs right here, and some people leave them on there for the weight, but because these are so thick, I actually take a grinder and cut them off and put these brass prongs into my brass bucket. Okay, but a really, really nice cord. Okay, and a lot of times people just come by and cut that, especially if they're going quickly or they can't fit this into their car or truck or what have you. Okay, and I pulled the cap off of that. You can see it. Okay, the top is just bolted in with screws. Okay, so this is steel. It's going to go in my steel bucket. The back, this is also steel. Okay, now that it's off, it's easy to fit into my car. It just takes a little bit of time. So here are your back parts. You have the cylinder that is right here. The hot air goes into this container, it goes down and out the exhaust on the bottom. There are times where there is still lint inside that, so be careful. It does, it could get messy, especially if someone doesn't clean out the filters. On the top here, there was a control panel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut this off, just so I can bring it over to you and show you what's inside. So the control panel here actually has a lot of nice lower grade wire inside here. Okay, this is still the bigger wire. This connects to the wall outlet. So this thicker stuff I'm going to cut off and put into my higher grade copper, because the copper in this is still really nice. But this copper, the reason we call this lower grade is because it's really lot more plastic than copper. It's really thin, okay, and you can bend it. So this copper that connects to the control panel, I will throw into my lower grade copper wire. This plate is steel, but inside here, there are actually silver contacts. These are the controls that go to the button. I just have to pop this plastic off. I'm gonna put my safety glasses on to make sure I don't get any, plastic back at me. Or anytime I'm using materials or tools, I want to make sure that I safety first. Okay, so here is my control panel, and the big black boxes right here, this one, and this one, all have silver inside. They have silver contacts, okay? There is a transformer, a small one. This would go into my transformer bin. This control panel, sometimes they are plastered in with a little bit of wax or some type of melted plastic to keep them on there, but this one, it seems I can probably pry it out. This would be a lower grade circuit board, okay? But I do want to pop out one of these black boxes and show you the silver inside. And all I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take a screwdriver and I'm just going to push it against it, okay? And it comes out like that, okay? And now I'm just going to take a hammer and break this box. Okay, and I want to be careful because I don't want everything floating or flying away. All right, so here's my box. There is a nice spool of copper inside, okay? And if I look at underneath here, if I pry that away, there's a little bit of plastic. I've got to get that off. Very, very carefully. There is, right on the top there, a silver dot. That is a silver contact, okay? There's that one. Inside of here, if I crack this open, pliers, just to lift it. There we go. On the back, pull this apart. There is another silver contact right there. Okay, and again, that's silver. So what I do is I actually just take a pair of pliers, I cut that piece off, and I put it into a little silver contact container. And eventually I will hopefully make a silver bullion. Okay, so there are 3 of those silver boxes on here. This is just bolted in with 1 screw. I'll take that out, and this frame will go into my steel bin. Okay, I'm just going to take this off, and there are a lot of screws. Okay, I am using an Allen or just a socket set to get these screws out. You could use a drill. Okay, so sometimes when I was talking about the money, sometimes the money will drop onto the floor. Easy way to figure out is if you shake it back and forth, you'll hear either, you know, something jingling on the bottom. Okay, there's nothing in here, but this is steel. Okay, this frame, I could just pop it up. Make sure there's no screws left. There we go. So I'll take this off. Okay, they're still connected by cords, so I'm just going to cut these cords off. Okay, so this cord is going to go into my lower grade copper wire. This is steel as well. And you don't have to worry, there are some plastic little wheels on here. You can leave these on. The scrapyards are not very picky. Okay, the cylinder is connected by a couple screws. There you go. A couple screws. Okay, so there's the drum. In order to get this into my car, all I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take an angle grinder and cut down the side here on both ends, and it'll fold into a nice, easier, manageable piece of steel I can fit in my car. Some people actually use these for rain barrels. Some people use them as fire barrels. You know, it's very sturdy because it is steel. Sometimes, especially in washing machines, they are stainless steel, so you want to make sure if you put a magnet on it, that it is not stainless steel. This one is magnetic, so this is steel. Okay, so that's going to go in my steel bin. And on the bottom here, you can see the controls. You can see there is a motor here. I'm just going to pull this exhaust off using an Allen key or my socket. Okay, so this pipe is also steel. If you can see on the bottom, there is, I'll lift it up a little bit, there is a lot of lint still on the bottom, okay? But there is also a lot more lower grade wire. There is a box right here that still has some brass connectors. And I want to get to the motor. So I'm actually going to go, I got to figure out how to go through there. I'm going to go through the other side. If I can open this. Trying to turn it upside down. Just to get at it. There are a couple screws still in it. Okay, and the nice thing is now, once I start taking out the steel, it is easier to maneuver. It's a lot lighter, and it's a lot easier to get to the goodies. Okay, so pull this top off or bottom off. This is just steel as well. Okay, and I'm starting to get to the motor. As soon as I take this off, I'll show you. Okay, but again, it's just bolts. And there are different designs of the dryer. This one has the control panels on the main frame. This is a Whirlpool. Sometimes they have them on the back panel, on a ledge. It all depends, but they are all made up the same way. Okay, and let's see if I can. Okay, so I'm going to take this off, put my safety glasses on. Okay, so this is just plastic, unfortunately. The control panel actually does have more steel, and it does have a couple more circuit boards. Anytime you have a knob or push buttons, okay, lots of push buttons here, there will be little pieces of silver in those as well. And you can see underneath this panel, there are circuit boards. So if I just, there's a couple bolts. I'll take this apart for you to show you. Again, just easier for me to get it into my car and make it more manageable. But as you can see, there is a lot of recyclable materials on here, you know, and I'm just glad that this one is not going to the landfill. It's going to, you know, the scrapyard. So there's some steel. Okay, there are my control panels. They're connected in with a couple screws. But if I pop the top off there, there's another. You can just see the green right there. These would be lower grade circuit boards. They're not very heavy. There's not much on them. Even the silver, there's not that much on it. Okay. So I'm going to also pull up the door now. And this is, if I look, might be one, yes there is, one bolt. Sometimes you want to be very careful when you start, before you start bending stuff, you want to make sure that you have not bent the steel too much that you can't get the screws out. Okay, here it comes. Okay, even with this plastic door on here, scrapyards are not going to be too picky. will take this as is, especially given the price of scrap metal because of the COVID. It's really gone down in price, but this is just another big piece of steel. This is the door, has the fan here, or the filter, okay, and again, some lower grade wire. Now that I have this open and exposed, it just actually fans out nicely, so now I can work better getting the motor out. You can see, hopefully with this, there is a lot of lint on this. Okay, here is a small little, oh, hang on, I'm gonna get those. This is steel. This has the heating element in it. Pull these cords off. Okay, so this is inside here. There is the heating element, the heating coils. This is what makes the dryer hot. There is a silver contact right here on this. It probably turns the heat on. Okay, so there, if I crack that open, there'll be some silver inside that. This is another silver contact. Okay, some lower grade wire. It's got some really nice brass prongs. Okay, the rest of this is metal. And as you can see here, I have my copper bearing motor. Okay, and I'm gonna stop it here. This copper bearing motor just has a couple screws that are inside of here to take this out. It is covered with cast aluminum. You can kind of see it there. And there's two options. Some people, what I will do is I will actually take a file and I will scratch this. Because this is a whiter color, that means this motor is aluminum. So I'm actually just gonna take this in as is, once I get it out of here, as a motor. Even though it's not copper, I still throw it into my copper bearing motors because, you know, the price, they're not really picky, they don't really look at them. But it does have cast aluminum around the outside as well, so that adds to the weight. But unfortunately, this is not a copper bearing motor because that's not a copper look inside. I'm looking, there is no change in here, which is fine because I'm doing this just to help the environment. And now that I can actually move these wings, they easily come off, and I can now put this safely into my G6 car. I hope this video was informative. As I said, you've got lots of steel, you've got some silver contacts, you've got lots of copper wire, you have a motor that can be taken out, separated, diverted properly. And again, one other piece of heavy appliance that has been diverted from the landfill. Next video, I will show you how to take apart a washer. Hope this video was informative, hope you liked it. Please comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Tin Man out.